back to Bahamas at Sunrise. The academic year 2022-2023 has begun, and the Ministry of Education is prepared to continue providing high quality education while embracing change and innovation. Here to tell us about the preparations for the new school year, we're happy to welcome Mr. Theophilus Claridge. He's the District Superintendent for the Department of Education. Good morning, Mr. Claridge, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, Mrs. Palacios, and it's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. Of course, the school year getting started today. Teachers haven't been back in the classroom for a little over a week now. What
Yes.
are some of the changes you anticipate this school year? And also, what kind of changes, if any, have you already noticed?
Well, when we look at changes, we are looking at changes as would have been mentioned in the past. Director would have mentioned we have curricular changes, and Minister would have mentioned also. And because we're on a curricular cycle now, every 5 years we are changing, we're upgrading, we are making renovations to the curriculum. And as our theme says, rethink, retool, reboot. We know that the curriculum is one of the areas that we have to always rethink, retool, reboot to present it so we can get our students focused on where we need to focus. Another area that we are putting a whole lot of emphasis on is technical and vocational training. And I'm fortunate that in my district, we have a number of schools where we're looking at upgrading the facilities. We're also looking at getting teachers in. And another area I'm pleased to say, we hear about it a lot, is that the bigger push in agriculture. We know we have schools like CH Reese that has an agriculture program that fed RM Bailey, but unfortunately, we did not have an agriculture teacher there for the longest. So now we have an agriculture teacher going there so that we can have a continuity in our program. So with the technical and vocational agriculture, they are some of the main areas we're looking at how we can get our students more involved so that they can be self-sustained. We can be self-sustained as a nation, but also our students can also learn the entrepreneurial skills that they would need to survive.
Excellent, excellent. And what impact do you think shifting the paradigms would have on achieving sustained excellence?
It's important because what is going to happen is I believe when we look at especially technical vocation agriculture and bringing them together and then tying them into what we would call the traditional academic subjects. Too often we believed that mathematics was supposed to be on its own. Language arts was supposed to be on its own. Social studies, but when we start now looking at technical and vocational, we need the language skills because the child needs to be able to, the literacy skills for them to read. They need the numeracy skills because we need to tie that into what they're dealing with, even in agriculture. And so if we're going to see the shift in our students, the mindset, I believe, in getting them to think towards a holistic approach to education and not just standing alone and seeing this subject as some of us would have looked at an algebra in mathematics, algebra. Where am I going to use that? But when we make practical applications, we see the shift starting to take place.
All right. I think you might have broken up just at the end there, but a very, very good perspective as you think about this as a holistic picture and what we want from our students in the future. How do you think they'll perform being back in class? Last year, they did come back. There were gaps when they had to come out again. This time, we're expecting that we will have a continuous school year. How do you think that our students are faring coming back to class? Some of them for the first time, and many of them transitioning into new schools, etc. What is your perspective of their emotional state going into school this morning?
I believe our students are ready to come back. I know when we finally went back before the school closed, and we have some schools that were actually able to go full 100%. And the students were excited. One, they saw their friends, but the students also made the comment that they were able to, the learning experience for them was a better experience than trying to be virtual. Too often we are virtually, we can get distracted. Even as adults, we get distracted very easily. The students said that they like the idea of being back in the classroom. The parents also loved it. As a matter of fact, the parents sometimes I think they love it more than the students because the parents actually were breaking down the various district superintendent doors, figuratively trying to make sure their children were in school. And so I think we're going to see an exciting school year as we go forward.
Okay. And as we look toward the future in terms of our teachers, are they ready and prepared to be back in the classroom today?
As a matter of fact, they are. I was visiting schools last week and in just one-on-one interaction with teachers. They are excited to see their students. Some of us wish we could have a longer break because, as you know, when we're on the summer break, it seems as if everything is taking place. But they are excited because they too realize that the face-to-face instruction is a better model than trying to the virtual. And now we're encouraging them, and some of them are looking at innovative ways in which we can incorporate virtual with the full face to face, but I would say virtual with using technology, incorporating it into the full face to face. The teachers are very excited to be back.
And then in terms of, you know, it's unfortunate that we have to raise it, but it has been a concern. We did have some school altercations at the end of the previous semester.
Yes.
It left us feeling a bit sad as a nation. So are we prepared to deal with violence in schools? Obviously, kids now coming back into contact with each other can also lead to those sorts of challenges. Is the ministry prepared for that as well?
Yes, we are. We are working with the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and as a matter of fact, Chief Superintendent Chaswell Hanna, he is in charge of the school resource police officers. And what they're doing is they're training the officers, but also they're training the security, and they're working with the school administration to ensure that we have a safer environment. The police will be there to assist us in getting to the bottom of some of these social issues that we deal with. And some of the issues we realize they actually stem from when the students were home and the lockdowns, when they were dealing with interaction online. And so we do see that, and we believe with the police coming on stream, we will have a smoother year. And we pray that our students would listen. The issue that I know we're going to see, I say no, the issue I believe we may have to challenge may not be on the campus, but we have to also work, how do we work with our parents to make sure that when the students are on their way home, we do not have the violence pick up, because that's an issue we had in some instances last year.
Yeah. Very well said. And we do have to wrap up, but before we go, obviously there were concerns very recently. The director would have spoken about the results from the BGCSE and BJC examinations. Certainly a lot happening over these past 2 years, as we're all aware. But are there any hopes or plans for just seeing those scores improved, or helping students to be more involved with that aspect of their education, so that those scores get better this year?
Well, what we are actually looking at, and that's why I like the theme we looked at, rethink, retool, reboot, because part of it means that the teachers now are looking at various ways that they can work with their students. But in also to see improved results, we need our parents also to work with our students.
Mm-hmm.
We have teachers who have classes in the morning, teachers who have classes lunchtime, teachers who have classes after school. One school in my district, we have teachers who have classes on Saturdays. And what that school actually had to do was to schedule Saturday classes, because the teachers are trying to get their students to make sure that in their subject areas, but we believe we will see improvement, but we also encourage the parents to be more involved. We leave it so often to the schools, but we have to make sure that our parents, that our guardians, that they know the subjects that their students are taking, they know their teachers, and then they know what is needed in order to improve in those areas.
Yeah, well, that's very well said. It's been great talking with you this morning, Superintendent. I think you bring a lot of hope to the new school year, but with measured steps and a measured plan that the ministry has discussed over these past few weeks with us. So we wish you all the best. We wish you and your teams the best, our teachers and our students the best. And we hope that we'll be able to continue these conversations around all of our involvement, the village's involvement, in making sure that our public education system is the best there is. So thank you so much for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Have a great one. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.